So the way that this is done, again, this is for Gmail. There's a tool called Mixmax. Today, right now, go on mixmax.com, and I think they give you a trial. Sign up for it, and it will be the SMB. Oh, click on individuals. For individuals, it will be on the SMB plan. I think they give you 14-day trial. I would sign up for a monthly to make sure you're actually using it, and then once you see that you're actually using it, then you could upgrade to annually later. But you definitely want to get this one, because this one is the one that has sequences, which is what we need. And then also it says if you are on Outlook, these were the two alternatives that I mentioned. A bunch of our Legal Funnel members have used one of these. Then it has all the features or not. It could either have the same features, or it could not, or it could even have more features than these. But first, learn how I do it. Try to understand the premise behind what I'm trying to do with Mixmax, and then see whether you can use the same thing for using Cloud HQ or Yesware. All right, so Mixmax has two features. One is called templates. By the way, whenever you sign up for Mixmax, you want to install the Mixmax Chrome extension. Again, if you're on Gmail, I will do this right now. I will install this extension, sign up for it, and try to follow me along with it. You install this. Once you install this, you go to your Gmail. Once it's installed properly, Mixmax should show up right here. If your Gmail is already open, you want to refresh the page or do a hard quit, and then open Chrome back up again, and it should show up right here. This is the back end of Mixmax. Once you get to here, then the two parts that's crucial for us is templates and sequences. What I would do, once you get to the templates, then I would drop this off as a bookmark so you have it saved, because you're going to be accessing this all the time. And what are templates and sequences? Templates is essentially a text expander tool. It saves texts. Somebody says, how long does it take to do this? You don't want to sit there and type out every time. It takes this long to do this. What documents do I need? Sit there, type out, you need these documents. Instead, you create these templates of the same answer over and over. So you don't have to type it every time. But usually you want to create them as you go along. So next time you're answering an email for that question, write your answer, and then right away, before you send, you open up a new tab, open up Mixmax, click to create template, name the template based on a name that makes sense. And the way to name it is always based on the category, like what's the practice type, and then what do they need. So let's just say if it's a divorce document, so it'll be divorce documents, right? It's always the type, and then versus the specific thing. And then you copy and paste the answer here. And basically over time, you're compiling a list of the things that you're going to be always replying back. And what this does is, not only are you saving it, so you saves time, so you don't have to type it over and over, but another benefit is you can optimize that answer. Because I realized when I was answering emails, depending on how I would answer, I would get different responses, or I would get different conversion rates. If I would say this in my emails, they wouldn't respond. But if I make it very clear exactly what this should do, then I would do it. So I'm like, okay, there's a better way to do it. So I would go and update my Mixmax template to have the better way to send that email. So over time, it became the most optimized language I could use for talking to my prospects, talking to my clients to give them clear instructions or whatever. It was always optimized over time. And there were some email sequences that I would literally update every single month, and it became so optimized that now it became like the most effective email template and sequences I ever had. That's the other benefit that a lot of people, miss by not having these things is, and you continuously create your templates so that you don't have to type the same thing over and over. So for now, just to get you started, you're on Mixmax right now, to just create one sample template. Just doesn't matter, just write whatever, because I'm gonna get you to start just use it once to build the momentum. Just to show you guys an example. Say somebody asked me about virtual address. Here's basically your option for virtual address. What was cool about it is once I create these templates, I created the ones that were necessary, but over time, once I handed off this to my virtual assistants started creating templates for us. So this one, I know I didn't make this, because this doesn't look like mine. So it allows you to have other people contribute. And I think at this point, most of these are made by my team, not me. For getting an EIN, these are like instructions for getting the EIN, application signed. Again, this doesn't look like mine. Mine kind of look like this, and I guess they added to it based on the problems and issues that people were having. I guess they clarified the instructions. And yeah, over time, pretty much creating the entire language of exactly how your law firm should communicate with your leads, clients, insurance agents, different things. It's all here. I barely have to create any new emails. And then there is sequences, which is sequence is a template that has automated follow-ups. If somebody doesn't reply back to an email, automatically sends them a second email, third email, fourth email. So this is usually used for your prospects. Somebody emails you and they need something from you, or you want them to get signed up. You don't want to go sit there and manually follow up with them 2 days later. But if you can create a sequence that first gives them, what you do, and if they don't reply back, automatically it sends them email number 2, and continues following up with them until they respond back. And again, this came out of desperation because I realized that it's very important to follow up. So when I would get a lead on Monday, I would send those emails, and then by the next day, I would have to go follow up on all those emails. And I remember having like a, text edit document. I would save the person's email address to put a reminder that I got all these leads on Monday, send follow-up emails. You can imagine by Thursday, there was a lot of emails to send out. And I'm like, this kind of fixed that problem. What it does is increases your conversion rates. You're way more likely to sign up a client when you have those multiple touch points. You're still following up with them a week later, which is explained why is that important. Follow-up is the reason why most people don't sign up is not because the price is too much or that's question, things like that. It's always the timing issue. So, having those multiple follow-ups helps you with that timing issue that most people have. The way that I kind of use this is that it just says somebody needs an EIN. By the way, the service that I provide is for non-US citizens, people that don't have a social security number. An email that's written, that's very optimized at this point, that pretty much say that first party is always personalized. And I tell my team the first line has to be under personalized. And we basically take the same exact words that whatever the email said, we basically want to use those exact words in this first line right here. Right away up front, give social proof. This is what we do. Look at our reviews, benefits up front, very important. Like these are like a little optimization or marketing things, social proof, benefits. This is what you can do with what you're looking to do. Very clear what the offer is, backed by a money back guarantee to kind of lower that barrier of entry, and then very clear call to action, bolded first step that they need to do in order to take action. This is like optimized, very optimized email. Again, the way to, if you want to look at your own emails, just make sure you check off on these. First line, personalization. Number 2, social proof. Number 3, benefits. 4, clear offer. When you send the offer, always try to back it up with trust or something. Either the reviews or money back guarantee or some reason why kind of makes it easier for them to say, okay, well, I have ease of mind. You don't want to just send the offer and that's it. Always back it up. And then next is a clear call to action, which is always bolded, made larger, crystal clear exactly what they need to do. The beauty of the sequence is they don't reply back. 1 weekday later, it basically sends them another follow-up. Basically gives them more social proof, more reasons, clear call to action, etc. They don't reply back to that email. Another email shows more reviews, call to action. Another email, short email, just checking to see received my previous email about getting your EIN. Any thoughts or question? Just open-ended kind of follow-up question. And next email, 3 weekdays later, a kind of defensive comment. I don't know whether I would do this right now or not anymore, but I see this. I assumed I never received a response from you that you're no longer interested in getting your EIN. Is my assumption correct? I think it's a little bit harsh at this point. I don't think I would do it this way, but some people would be like, no, I still want it. I'm like, okay, great. Well, you know what to do. And then the last email, 7 days later, kind of summarizes everything, the benefits and this and that, clear call to action. Or I'll give them, hey, maybe this is too complicated for you. Well, you can just also answer these questions. Sometimes people just want to, are old schoolers, so they just want to give me their answers. So I give them that kind of option to do it. What that does, again, every time that somebody emails me about that thing, if I need a response, if I need a reply, I always create a sequence out of it. So it's usually for your prospects, or if you're giving instructions to your clients to do something, then you can also create sequences for that. And this works wonders. This also is how we collect reviews. This is also how we follow up with people to get appearances, bookings, anything that needs to get something you need to get done. There's always a sequence behind it. I never expect 1 email to get anything done, which again, because of that timing issue, you can have the best offer and, everything checks out, but some people get the email at the wrong time. You just don't have time for it. So you have to send multiple emails these days to get anything done.
One of the things when I've done sequences before is, I set up a sequence to send out 4 emails, and it's like it assumes that no one's going to respond and hire you on email number 2. So then they go ahead and they hire you, make it so it turns off 3 and 4, so they don't hire you, and then they get that email that says, "What are you waiting for? Why aren't you hiring me?"
There's specific settings about when the sequence shouldn't be sent. Don't send this sequence to recipients who have already received this sequence. If they already received the sequence, don't send them this. Or they're already active in one of your other sequences, or already active in sequence from any of the following other groups, which I guess that's not really relevant for us. Or remove recipients. Remove the recipient whenever any sender receives an email from that recipient, whether or not it's a reply. That one is a good one to check off. Or if you do your bookings through Mixmax, which I don't, that might be another one to check off. Or remove all of the sender's recipients from the same domain. Any recipient from that domain responds to the sequence email. So I would check off kind of these 2. That covers about 70-80% of it. Sometimes, things might leak through. I used to be like, I had the same kind of questions, but I realized that people would just be like, "Hey, I already did it," and be like, and then you just, it's okay. You just say, "Oh, no worries. Like, thank you for taking care of that."
Yeah, and at that point they hired you anyway, so it's
yeah. It's not as bad as it seems to us subjectively. People are just trying to get their problem solved. They're focusing on that, not whether you said this exact line or this thing.
So, thanks.
Sure. Able to automatically CC people. You go to other benefits of Mixmax. It tracks the opens and clicks. You could create the sequences and mass email people. I just said if you have a list of names and emails, then you're able to actually drop it off here. Add recipients right here. People to be able to copy and paste the names here, or drop off a CSV file and automatically email all these people. So if you're sitting on email lists, you're able to create the sequences and just create a very optimized sequence that says, "Hey, if you receive this email, you probably inquired about this. This is what we do. These are the benefits of it. Social proof. Is it something you're interested in? Blah, blah." A very soft call to action. It's very important also, whenever you want people to do something, don't just send them a link to do something. And I say this mistake all the time. And this was, again, the lesson learned from the review collection method that I shared with you. A lot of people, when it comes to reviews, they send people a link. They say, "Can you leave me a review?" And they put the link in the email. Don't do that. Always ask first, "Hey, are you interested in this? Do you want this? Is this something you want?" Ask that first. Then once they say yes, then send them a link. That teasing increases your conversion rates versus just telling them to do something. Let them say yes, then send them a link. So going back to our little worksheet, we want to basically create just a couple of templates to get started. Create one Mixmax sequence to just get us started on creating Mixmax sequence. Then next is we're going to create the structure for our Gmail, or if you're on Outlook, I'm sure Outlook has the same thing. If you're on Outlook, go open it up right now, because this will be relevant for you. And then I gave you a bunch of different structures to create. Okay. So first of all, what is labels? The way to categorize your emails that you do get. Simply use this little plus button to create the labels. What labels do you want to create? If you're on Gmail, go right now, go create these. There's one called billing, which is going to be all your payment emails, anything with numbers, with dollars being in it, essentially. And the one is calendar, any notifications from Calendly or Google Calendar. And then the one will be calls, phone calls that you get either from your virtual receptionist service, or usually it's going to be your virtual receptionist service. All those automatically go there. I'll show you how to automatically put those in there. Next is every time you request documents, you don't want to lose who you're still asking documents from. So every time you request a document, label them as so you can come back to all those people. And as soon as they give you the documents, you remove that label. So it's like an internal CRM for you to keep track of all the people that you're still pending, documents are still pending. That way you'll be able to put a person in the VA in charge of the, "Hey, this list of document requests that should be like less than 10. If it's above 10, we have too many people there that we still need documents from." That VA is just in charge of that label structure. Next is faxes. Any faxes that you get, hopefully that's done electronically these days. And then the one is your intake. Intake is filled out. Usually if client signs up, you always want them to fill out an intake. All those intakes should be automatically categorized as intake filled out. Next is newsletters. You should not be receiving any newsletters in your main email inbox. That's a huge distraction. No matter how good the newsletter is, it's probably better to just auto categorize as a newsletter, and you should just have dedicated time just for reviewing newsletters versus whenever it comes in. Next is outstanding payment. If you need, there's a client, they have outstanding payment, label it as so you can have them all in general one place so you can keep track of them. You have somebody in charge. Payment pending, maybe is somewhat similar to outstanding payment, but could be either you could get rid of that, or it could be payment pending is every time you send an invoice, then that could be considered as a payment pending, versus outstanding is kind of like they're late on payment. So maybe you want to differentiate that out. Next is different ways that you do collect payments. Maybe you have different invoices. You have one from LawPay, so I would create one called invoice paid LawPay, invoice paid PayPal. Next is review requested. Every time you ask for a review, label them as so. That way, again, you'll have to go back to those people, all those people who have outstanding reviews that's owed to us. We know who those people are. As soon as we see that they leave us a review, remove that label. Every couple of months, I tell my VA, go back to all those review requested and send another sequence to get them to collect a review. And last is to do, the general thing of like the immediate stuff that you need to do. Separate those out. And one last one I would make is one that goes to your attention. So it'll be called Ian's attention. And also, ideally, you want to make some for your team as well. I have all these: Anna, Cherise, Kay, Marie, Rochelle, and my attention, and Stephanie. Everybody who manages my email box has their own attention. Maybe they're dealing with specific clients or leads or things. We know who it's delegated to. We're not fighting. We leave it. That person deals with it, so we don't have to mix that. Okay, so that's the structure of your email inbox. Next is we want to make some rules that automatically filters them or automatically structures them based on whether from what email address the email is coming from, or whether the email has a certain subject line, or whether the email has certain words in the email. Automatically, we want to auto label it as so. Okay, how to create these labels is you start off with the search bar. So if you're going to be, let's just say all of Calendly, do one, say like my Lex Helper calls. Lex Helper, my phone receptionist service, all calls are coming from this email address. So I put the parameter here. Again, it's based on the email address, domain, email subject line, or if it has certain words in there. Every email that mentions Lex Helper call will be another way. And when you put it into a little quotations, then it will be the exact phrase. Once you create the parameter, then you click on that little option, and it basically gives you an option of the parameter. Again, usually it's going to be coming from a certain email address. Is usually I would say 70% of the time is it's coming from a certain email address, or if the email mentions a specific word or phrase, or if the email mentions specific words. Any email that requests a refund could automatically email that mentions the word refund could automatically be labeled as refund requested, so that maybe our customer support can be in charge of those. Is one way. But for the sake of this little example, I'm just going to say any email that came from it's coming from no reply Lex Helper, create a filter. Now is the part, what do you want to be done based on that parameter? And there's always three. Skip the inbox, apply that label, and never send it to spam. Those are like the fundamental three. There are other ones that you can also use. You could forward it to a certain email address. You could also apply it. You could categorize it, which I don't use, mark it as important. If need be, send a template, which I don't use. Also, you may want to apply it to all of your past emails that matches this filter. You'll be able to, that's that setting. But usually it's going to be these three. Skip the inbox, apply the label, and never send it to spam. And when I click on create filter, automatically any email that comes from no reply at lexhelper.com skips the email inbox. So it skips this middle part, applies that label, it goes there, and it never sends it to spam. So that way, all the calls that we're getting, it's all coming here. And the idea is I have different VAs with different roles who are in charge of these different labels. This person knows we have two people in charge of calls. I have a person in charge of intakes. It's kind of like, again, I was thinking about as divisions: pre-client, post-client. Pre-client is all the calls and things like that. And then post-client is all the intakes and things like that. That's how basically that you delegate it automatically to the right person by automatically creating these rules that automatically gets labeled, and then there's different people in charge of those. And you create these labels, these rules, these Gmail rules over time. And over time, once you do this for a couple of years, you've been able to create all these rules. Again, this didn't happen overnight. That's been 3 or 4 years. Every email, essentially, not every single email, but most things that are continuous automatically knows what to do with it. And what happens is over time, you get your team to answer your emails for you, because based on what the email says, then they know which template or sequence to send. And by the way, how do you send the sequences? Whenever I get an email, by pressing semicolon, it brings up the Mixmax little window. With using tab, I could select whether it's going to be a template or sequence. So let's just say this one, I want it's somebody that needs something and I need to automatically follow up. So I just type out it's a sequence. There's going to be some follow-ups. And I'm going to search pretty much for that sequence name. Just I have one called, again, all these, I don't know what these are because my team made it. I select that one. If there's some personalization in there, I just say we personalize the first name, and email that's personalized, that's all their answers of our FAQs automatically typed out. Plus it comes with usually the sequence. Let me do it again. Not only does it send the emails, where's the Mixmax? But because this, yeah, there we go. Because it's a sequence, it says if there's no reply back to by Monday, then it basically sends email number 2. Not only does it have it saved, but also sends the automated email, follow-up email for me. And that's how basically your VAs can answer your emails for you. They have different roles. They know which templates and sequences to send, and they're very capable to do this. They'll figure it out over time. It's not like it takes them a couple of weeks, but they'll pick up on it. And this is how basically our email inboxes are being answered and automatically followed up for us. Everybody understands the big picture, big objective, and we get our emails answered. And over time, the only 2 labels that I answer is Sam's attention and billing. Those are essentially the only 2. Everything else has some kind of protocol for it. The billing is all my payment stuff. And over time, I basically took my top VA, Therese might be here, who not only goes through billing, my billing emails, it goes through it. If it's, something is just a notification, just, figures it out. Or if it's something that needs to be done, she just does it. And Therese has also been able to go through my Sam's attention emails. So not only am I barely answering all the emails, only to say 5% of the emails are Sam's attention, and now even those ones could also be answered by somebody on your team who knows what's going on.
80% of my clients are Spanish-speaking people, and probably 20% are they speak English. So is there any way to avoid duplicating all the templates and every letter, every email? Is there any easy way that in which I can just translate them or transform them or something? Because for me, it will be all the work for everything.
You would create those in Spanish.
I mean, all the templates and all the answers to people for the emails and everything. As I said, some people speak Spanish, some people speak English. So I have to duplicate everything. Mm-hmm. Is there an easy way around that or not?
Yeah, I would create it in the version that's easy for you. So is that English or Spanish for you?
I mean, for me, it's Spanish, and 80% of my clients speak Spanish.
Perfect. So you would create the Spanish versions, and most of the people are going to be using that one. And then if you need the English version, then you get a VA to just tell, hey, these, at least I would start up. You don't need to translate all of them. Just take the top 10, say translate these, and at the end, I would put English in the name. They know that's the English version. It's smart. I love the focusing in on Spanish and being very particular about who. I love seeing that. It's very valuable. I think this is something that everybody should take advantage of. Not done people or anybody that has this set up, but by you doing this, again, you free yourself up from your emails so that you're able to go work on higher value things. Answering emails is great. And you get clients from it and you will make an income, but let's try to delegate this out so we could go focus on the business development, hiring, getting more clients in through the door, on all that stuff. And train your virtual assistants to answer your emails using templates and sequences based on what your prospects and clients email about. Keep in mind that this is an ongoing process. This system has worked incredibly well for our past students. Stick to it and you will transition out of your email inbox.
Lawyer Nation, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, take a moment right now to subscribe right below and turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I post a video, because right now I'm posting 5 videos a week, providing lots of value to lawyers. So click right here to subscribe, and to watch the next most relevant video, click right here. Go do it. Go watch it.